Hey, I'm Rob Jones and welcome to Tech Talk on Loop TV. This edition we're going to be looking at how to make the most of your loops, using the various boxes and envelope automation in the clip editor in Live to turn a single loop into a few different parts on a track. Let's crack on with it then, shall we? I'm using a drum loop from Loopmaster's brand new Hyper sample pack. So let's drag it onto a track and then copy and paste it over to a few tracks. This is what the sample sounds like. Now I noticed at the end there we've got a couple of bass notes creeping in. So what I'm going to do first is highlight just that part of the waveform in the clip editor here, by shifting the loop bracket to the third beat of that fourth bar. Now when I play it, you can only hear that section looped over and over. I'm actually going to extend this out a little though, so that the loop doesn't have such regular timing. If I make it a beat and a half long, then the bass notes will fall on different beats of the bar each time the loop repeats, to make it more interesting. Next thing to do is to lose the drum sounds from the loop, so that we only hear the bass. These could be edited out in the arrangement window by splitting or slicing the waveform and deleting out the bits you don't want. However, the way you can do this in Session View is using the envelope box in the clip editor. Clicking E down here opens up a box where you can select different parameters to automate directly from the clip view. For example, once clip is selected here, you can choose to adjust the clip volume, and then draw in different levels using the mouse directly on the waveform here. So we need to get rid of the drum sounds by lowering the clip volume on each of these beats. Now, when the loop plays, you can only hear the bass notes. How about we try modulating the bass pitch now? This can be done by selecting Transposition in the envelopes box here, as it's another one of the automatable parameters in the clip category. Now we could draw in different pitches for the individual notes, as follows. Or, if you don't want to change the transposition the same way in every repetition, then you have the option of unlinking the envelope for that parameter. This is a really cool feature in the clip editor, and means that you can use the envelope controls to modulate any clip, mixer, or device parameter over a long period of time. For example, to create a filter sweep over 16 bars, even though the clip is just a 1-bar loop playing over and over. So to do this, you just click on the linked box here, which then changes to unlinked, and the waveform disappears. Now you can create any amount of time for the envelope by adjusting the start and stop positions or loop settings from the boxes or in the clip editor here. We're going to have a loop that's 4 times as long as the original loop, so 4 times a beat and a half, which makes 6 beats, or 1.5 bars, as there are 4 beats in a bar. The bass loop will repeat 4 times over this duration. Now I want to transpose the pitch down by a semitone for the second to last repetition, and then a semitone for the first note on the last repetition, and 2 semitones for the very last note. This gives us a nice little syncopated bass line. Let's take another version of the loop and see what else we can do then. How about we try making a rhythmic lead of some kind? To do this, we could try looping the first bar of the drums, and then using the envelopes modulation to change the clip volume so that only the first part of the drum on each half beat or quaver is heard. This creates a gated drum sound. A good thing to do now if you want to make the sound a bit more tonal is to process the signal through a delay with lots of feedback. I'm going to use Live's simple delay, and I'm going to set it up so that each channel has a very small delay, and then increase the feedback so that a pitch is introduced. If I adjust the delay in the right speaker now so that it's a little longer, you can hear an interesting effect is created with 2 pitches rather than 1. The 2 things I'm going to do now are, firstly, transpose the whole loop up to remove some of the bass, and now add a gate to the track so that the sound is a little tighter, as only the loudest parts pass through the gate. If these parts are played together now, it's obvious that they need a bit of work to make them sound right. Firstly, they're in different keys. It's much harder to change the pitch of the delayed signal, so the best thing to do is just to transpose the bass down, in this case by 8 semitones. Now we could change the timing of the delayed sound so that it follows a 3-beat rather than a 4-beat pattern, like the bass. So let's change the loop to 3 beats long instead of 4. Then, taking this one step further, we can use the envelope editor to reduce the clip volume of the signal on the beats that the bass notes sound. Although the gate will be removing most of these parts of the waveform anyway, as they're low in level, the envelopes can be used to make doubly sure. Last thing we could do is add some effects to both tracks using the mixer return channels. I'm sticking a bass effects track on one return, and then a ping-pong delay on another, and setting the levels that each track is sent to the effects returns using the send dials here. If I play the tracks now, you can hear that they work much better together. Now we just need to stick a beat behind it. I'm using the original sample that made both tracks so far, so that the whole session has been made from the same loop. So you see how the various controls in Clip View, and particularly envelope editing, allow you to create lots of different sounds from just one loop. Using techniques like this can really help you to produce your own unique sounds, as well as make each track sit better in the mix. Have fun, and see you next time.